Welcome, Marc D. Crepeaux here with Rusty Wheels Media, LettersandBooks.com, and Letters Never Meant to Be Read. I have Shelby Yarchin.
Yes.
Shelby, how's it going? Where are you?
I am in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Is it sunny and bright there?
No, it's actually raining right now.
Every day summer.
I wish.
Are you out making sandcastles this morning? No?
100%. Always. That's all we do.
Well, Shelby wrote, Dear Mrs. Caroline, in Letters Never Meant to Be Read, Volume 3. Do you have a copy, Shelby?
Not with me.
Copy.
I have an online digital copy, yes.
I'll just hold up mine. How about that? How did you hear about Letters Never Meant to Be Read?
So I actually am subscribed to this kind of website that sends me like writing opportunities, and this was just like another prompt that was actually written, and it kind of gets you in contact with like, I guess, competitions and submissions and everything like that, that it's kind of like simplified, like it kind of puts all the links together and it's just like, hey, here you go, you should try this. And this was like one of the competitions that I've kind of always been interested in, just because I write a lot of letters to a lot of people that I never end up sending. So I figured I'd send one in and see where it went. Interesting
to hear how people heard about the writing competition. This was our first writing competition. We are going to have another one. I did not pay to have this put out. What was nice is that it just kind of got shared around and passed around, and a lot of people heard about it of all different ages and of all different places. So it's always cool to hear how people, their journey and how they heard about it. You said you have other letters. I encourage you to send them in because, yeah, you can wait till the next competition. You don't just have to send in one for the competition, as the rules are right now anyway. And 3 or more into a publication will get you royalties. So just something to think about. 3 or more into one publication will get you royalties based on how many of your letters make it into publication versus how many letters there are. We call those legacy authors. So just something to think about for the future if you do like writing letters. So you wrote a letter, Dear Mrs. Caroline. Can you go ahead and read that for us?
Yeah, for sure. Dear Mrs. Caroline, I don't think I've ever been able to articulate the right type of emotion that ran through me the second I found your address in an old box of water damage papers that I found in my attic. I'm not really sure if you live in the same old dusty suburb, or if I'll get this letter back in a few weeks with a stamp that reads no return address. Regardless, I had to try, because one thing that I have found over the years is that things have changed with me. I'm not that scared 8-year-old who would sit in the back of your class in absolute silence anymore. I found my voice and my place in the world, yet my mind always drifts back to the day you spoke with my mother, the day you thought I couldn't hear what the two of you were discussing, because it was a parent-teacher conference and I was meant to stay in the hallway and keep to myself. I don't blame you for what you said or what you did. I used to, but not really anymore. Your words do echo in my mind each time I get that nagging feeling of anxiety pushed against the back of my mind. Because, Mrs. Caroline, you gave up on me that day. You told my parents you didn't understand me and that you couldn't. You had tried and I refused to learn, but that wasn't it at all. In a way, it crushed me. At that point, I had been to summer school every single year leading up to your class. You promised me that it would be different and that we could try something new. Mrs. Caroline, I was willing to learn until you said that, until you blew out that last flickering edge of hope that I had left. That's a little bit dramatic though, right? I think so. I guess part of me just wanted to let you know that I'm not really as unteachable as you think I am. And you can't make snap judgments on someone just because they don't have the mentality to sit and go through 30 flashcards on the same thing until it's drilled into their mind. I think I want to thank you, Miss Caroline, for lighting that fire under me that made it possible to carry myself through high school with an okay GPA and a lot more experience under my belt. But I must admit, the petty side of me does just want to say suck it. I would never do such a thing like that, though. Signed, the one student you gave up on.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
So how long ago did you come in contact with Miss Caroline?
So I was in 4th grade when she was my teacher, and it was like one of those things that I remember certain aspects of her class, but that was like probably one of the earliest memories that I can remember is that parent-teacher conference and everything with that. But just recently, like probably a couple months ago, I found her address in a box of old papers that my mom saved, and it just like made me want to write something to her.
What I like about that letter is it starts in an old attic,
Mhm.
which is cool. And that's definitely a good way to start. You have a good writing style. I do recommend that you continue writing letters. I like how you told the story. And so what happened after? I mean, you
So
thanked her for lighting a fire under you.
yes. So basically, like I said in my letter, I had been to summer school every single year leading up to that year. And actually, after that year, I went to summer school as well. But I kind of like realized that I needed to get in gear and figure out a learning style that worked well for me. And I still struggle with that every single day because I have like not a learning disability, but like it's very hard for me to focus on a lot of things. And a lot of the times when I try my hardest, I have to kind of add to that even more just to make sure I get like average grades and everything like that. So her telling my parents that she didn't understand me kind of made me realize that I also kind of had to put a certain amount of effort in, but it was like a two-way street. It wasn't a one-way street.
That's very interesting because a lot of times we have people that are influential in our lives, and it's not always positive or negative. In this case, you do thank her for doing that for you, but there is some animosity there, right?
Yes, 100%. I mean, I told her to suck it, which probably wasn't the best thing to do, but I mean, I guess it was kind of written out of vengeance and I guess a little bit of anger just because it's still like changed my life. Like I was mad when I first heard that and I was like, okay, that was rude. Like I need to talk to somebody about that. But then I was kind of like, okay, it kind of helps me in a little bit. So I guess the older I get, the more I kind of understand why she said what she said. But when I was like in fourth grade, it was just like, wow, okay, that's super nice.
But you did persevere. And
Yes,
your fourth grade self was like, I get it, but man. So you continued on
exactly.
with your head high. That's cool. Let's talk about some of the other writing that you've done uh, for horror.media. You have some
Yes.
pretty cool articles on there. I'll put them in the description below. You have one, there's something in the woods, and I think it has my wife.
Yes, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration for this?
So I have realized, like, I read a lot online, and I've realized that a lot of articles, like around Halloween, no matter what medium they're on, always has that kind of title, which is like, oh yeah, there's something here, and I think it has this, that kind of keeps you reading, like, oh, I found an old camera, and you wouldn't believe what pictures I found on there. So, like, it gets you to click on it, so it's kind of clickbait, and I actually came up with the title before I came up with the story. So I was like, okay, this could be something. And I just kind of worked off of that.
How did you get started writing for horror.media?
So with them, it was actually an ad on Facebook, and it's kind of a thing where it was saying you can write about anything you want and you can get published. And it's kind of something you can do in your free time. And every once in a while, I want to write about something creepy or something like that. And I always go back to that like medium because it's easy to publish from there.
You have another one that's nonfiction about the Cecil Hotel, which is a
Yes.
haunted hotel.
Mm-hmm. Probably the most haunted hotel.
Have you been there?
I haven't. I really want to go, but they're actually remodeling right now because it was so old that they had to do something. Been closed for like a year and a half now.
What's next for Shelby? What are you going to do next as far as writing goes? What are you working
That's
on?
a good question. I always want to keep publishing no matter what. I am in school right now to pursue like a different type of career, but up until this semester, I was actually going to go into school for creative writing. But writing something I've always wanted to do, and it's been something that I've always done to kind of like cope with things. So no matter where I go, and like if I do end up finishing my degree in criminal justice or something like that, no matter what happens, I'm always going to write. So I'm always going to keep submitting to contests and everything like that too.
What's your favorite genre to read?
I probably horror. Like that's honestly like a given kind of thing. Suspense, something that's kind of like twisty, like Sharp Objects and Gillian Flynn. Like she's my favorite author just because she's so good at writing like flawed characters and everything like that.
Do you think you're going to write like a horror novel?
Yeah, I mean, I want to. I have a lot of stuff in my drafts. I have like notebooks filled with ideas and like character plots and everything like that. But I haven't like committed to anything yet because I don't know where I want to take it or where I want to take everything. But I definitely have a lot of writing that just kind of sits in my drafts right now.
Well, I can say that you certainly have some talent just from your letter writing abilities and your articles on horror.media. And I would just encourage you to continue and to keep writing. And I look forward to seeing more from Shelby in the future, and certainly more letters. Do you think you write more letters?
I think I definitely will. I have probably more letters for that teacher too that I've written to her, but it's just like some of them are different and all that kind of stuff. But I have a lot of letters that I just haven't sent yet. Didn't want to send, but probably, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I want to thank you for being a part of this Letters Never Meant to Be Read Volume 3, and I do look forward to seeing more of your letters in the future.
It was a fun experience.